Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our webinar, Deconstructing Facebook for ROI Success. We're excited to be here, and we're going to be spending no more than an hour together, which includes a Q&A at the end. I'm going to start by giving you a very brief background of Venkodo, and then my colleague Tim Daly will take over. The first half will cover deconstructing Facebook's algorithm, how it works, why it prioritizes Facebook's goals over the advertisers, and how you can leverage it to support your goals and ultimately pressure down the CPMs. The second half is where the real meat is. We're excited to share through our testing of many clients. We've uncovered lots of techniques to improve user interaction and, most importantly, pressure down these CPM increases. We're going to show you 13 proven tactics and strategies that can be implemented on any Facebook campaign. And at the end, again, we will address your posted Q&A. About Venkodo. Company background. I don't want to spend more than a few minutes introducing who we are, what we do, just to add some credibility. Venkodo was founded in 2010, which makes us 9 years young or old, depending on how you look at it. Important to note is that we're started and run by industry veterans with multi-channel experience, both on the client and agency side, which means essentially we understand your challenges and we've been there. We felt and feel your pain, and we're early movers in the social media. Venkodo has over 180, I even believe more these days, in active media management spend. A good percentage of the spend is on Facebook and social media. Also, we're excited that we're a 3-time recipient of the 5,000 Inc. 5,000 fastest growing companies. What's exciting about that is due to our success, it's been based on our current clients' growth and their increased spend, and not by adding a significant amount of new clients and diluting ourselves. It's really based on the work and our success. Our core competencies, our in-house channels, are not only paid social, but paid search, programmatic display, direct mail, email, and OTT. We're about multi-channel and optimization. And our top service industries, Fortune 500 retailers, home service providers, personal and business insurance, higher education, boutique luxury retailers, financial services, legal services. This all makes us extremely well-rounded, and we're able to take these learnings and apply them across the board, which is really powerful. Who we are. I'm going to take a minute and introduce myself again and give you a sense of my background. Then we're going to spend a few minutes with Tim. I've been with Venkodo for about a year right now, and I head up the Vice President of Strategy and Business Development. In general, I've had about 25 years of direct mail and internet marketing experience. I've spent my entire career on agency, marketing service provider side of the business, and I've worked with a wider range of Fortune 1000 clients. Some of these include Mass Mutual, New York Life, NYU, Chico's, HPE, Office Depot Max, and Princess Cruises. My primary focus has been on the consumer acquisition and focus of lifetime value. Interesting enough, as mentioned earlier, I'm with Venkodo about a year, and it was at that time I decided that I wanted to be fully engulfed in the digital world. And so what I did is I merged my business with Venkodo, taking the traditional and blending it in with the direct and digital. Tim and I, funny story, actually worked together about 20 years ago when he was at Office Depot, and we built the first email acquisition program, which at that time was first of its kind and first in class. At Venkodo, I assist not only mine, but Venkodo's clients with developing prospecting databases and onboarding audiences to social and display platforms. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Tim Daly, who's our CEO of Venkodo.
Well, thank you, David, for the introduction. So as David mentioned, my name is Tim Daly. I'm the CEO of Venkodo. Personally, I am a 20-year plus internet marketing veteran that goes back to the 1990s. I started my career out on the advertising side, working for some major e-commerce and cataloging marketers. Probably the most recognizable portions of my stays were with Office Depot. As David mentioned, we had worked together there as vendor and client. About 15 years ago, I made the decision to jump over the agency side, and I've worked with a range of Fortune 1000 clientele over the years. In the middle of that, I had started and founded a audience targeting company back in 2008, which just was recently sold to Claritas. And after I kind of stepped out of that business, I founded Vincodo back in 2010. What kind of really makes Vincodo different is that I've made the decision to keep our clientele count small so that I can personally stay actively involved in client strategies that we implement on their behalf, and am heavily involved in the testing efforts. And much of what you're going to see today in our webinar are the testing efforts that I personally executed on behalf of our clientele and the best practices that we learned from them. So without getting into further ado here, we will jump into understanding a little bit more about how the algorithm works and how do we deconstruct this to our benefit and leverage the algorithm to achieve the ROI goals that we have set forth. So the first thing is just really understanding the realities of what the algorithm is. And despite no matter what they say with these buzzwords like automation, machine learning, AI, optimization, the reality is the algorithm is a yield management tool. And with that, what that means is that Facebook is going to try to attempt at its determinations how to get the greatest effective CPM possible for the inventory that it has available. Now, the algorithm is going to try to be balanced and give the advertiser a solid result, but when it comes down to it and they have to choose who's more important, the yield management tool is going to lean towards benefiting Facebook. So we have to be smart with the execution efforts that we put forward. So then we want to start looking into the underlying details which kind of feed the algorithm. And the first one would be is the detailed targeting. So on the screen here, you'll see on the right a screenshot image of an ad from StubHub that I received. And what you can do in the upper right hand portion there with the 3 dots is click on that, and it will bring up this option choices, and where you can click on why am I seeing this. And when you click on that, it's going to give you the details of how and why you got targeted, but it's also going to give you a link called manage preferences. And with the manage preferences, it's going to show you what Facebook has determined about you and how they've classified you for targeting. So when you jump in there and you take a look at things, what you're going to probably find out is they're kind of close, but there's a lot of mistakes. So for me, you go up and I take a look, and they will tell me that I'm a Tony Romo fan, I'm a LeBron James fan, I'm a Tom Brady fan, and that I'm both a Democrat and a Republican. It'll also say that I'm married and I'm a newlywed. It says that I have children at home, ages 10 and above. And lastly, it says I like to surf. But who am I really? Well, I'm a Tony Romo hater, a LeBron James hater, and a Tom Brady hater. Politically, I'm an independent. I don't take sides. I'm married, but I've been married for 20 years, so my wife would be a little bit questioning of the newlywed status. I do have children, and this is one where they nailed it. I got 2 girls, ages 11 and 16, and I am a beach goer, but you won't find me wading much more than 20 yards from shore ever since I saw the movie Jaws when I was a kid. So the next piece to kind of think about and understand and how it influences the algorithm is the Facebook pixel. So for those of you who have been doing social advertising for more than 3 years, you will recall, back in the day, the initial legacy pixel that was replaced by the new Facebook pixel. So the biggest component of that change was that initially all your conversion setups were custom. and Facebook couldn't identify what they really truly were unless you named them consistently with other advertisers. So with the change with the Facebook pixel, they created predefined buckets for page view, for viewed content, add to cart, purchase leads, and a few other categorizations. So as a result of this, that really took Facebook data collection, went from 30 miles per hour to 90 miles per hour overnight. You started getting amazing deep insights, and the lookalike models and the indexing really blew off the, like a rocket ship. So this information, though, you need to understand you're passing things about yourself, but it is also leveraged to help feed the lookalike models and the algorithm, and it can be used to help your competitors. So next piece to think about is the optimization tools. So as the new Facebook pixel got laid out there and all this rich data came in, Facebook started understanding more about the users and who they were and how they interacted with your ads. So today, there's a range of options you can choose from. There's link clicks, there's landing page views, impressions, daily unique reach, and conversions. So each selectable option is going to give you a very, very uniquely different audience. And when you make these choices, it's going to tell the algorithm to do certain things, and from that, it's going to try to identify opportunities to get Facebook's highest eCPM possible. And then lastly, we have ad creative types. So one of the challenges that Facebook is facing today is that they have some limitations with reach and frequency. Their user base is not growing at the speed it used to, and as a result, basically more frequency is happening and the growth of reach is slowing. So Facebook has really encouraged advertisers to put forward freshness and make sure that you use a range of creative options. And some of those options today, as as all of us know, the static image, which was the original 1200 by 628 horizontal image. Today you can also even do square 1080 by 1080s, but you also have the opportunities to do videos and slideshows, product carousels, dynamic product ads, collection ads, and Instagram and Facebook stories. So each selectable creative option, it's going to be geared towards certain users in that database, because Facebook has figured out what ad types people like, and they try to make sure that they introduce those types of creative types to those users, knowing that they prefer that type.
Thanks, Tim. Great intel, and you laid the groundwork for a lot. Now that we've talked about deconstructing the Facebook algorithm, how it works, and how to leverage it, we need to get to the guts of the webinar. We're excited to share through our testing with clients 13 proven tactics and strategies that can be implemented on any Facebook campaign to improve interaction, and so important, pressure down the Facebook CPM increases. Tim has about 30 of them, but we'll cover around 13 on this one, and depending on the response, we can do a part 2 webinar.
Thank you, David. Appreciate that. Give me a chance to catch my breath. So let's get in the meat of the conversation today. So as David promised, we were going to have 13 great tactics for you to consider. And our first one is fresh ad content. So Facebook and Instagram, as we noted just a few moments ago, are really dealing with challenges around reach and frequency. And they're being pressured by Wall Street to hit their numbers. So you have to make sure that you're doing everything in your efforts to make sure that you're keeping enough freshness and variety within your creative. And if you do this, it's going to lead to some improvements in your relevancy score. Now, relevancy scores are directional, so don't make million-dollar decisions off them. But if you keep refreshing your creative and you feed the system properly, you're going to get a boost to those scores. And if you get a boost to those scores, you're going to potentially pay a lower eCPM. So some of the things that you can do to help contribute to lowering your CPM is update your creative monthly if possible. But if that's too frequent and you don't have the resources, make sure that you're doing it at a minimum quarterly. Secondarily, the next important thing to really think about is make sure you got at least 4 ad creative units rotating at any time. So now you can do it all within a static image ad, or you can leverage some of the creative types, which is very much recommended to get some more variety. But one of the things that really pains me to really say to everybody, being a marketer and being beloved marketing science, I have to tell everybody, stay away from trying to do A to B split tests. Given the nature of the system, you're not going to get a statistically valid result by attempting to do so. It will more than likely impair your relevancy. It will impair your performance. And it's just best to give as many options as possible and just let the system sort it out. So if you do have these challenges of having human resources available to do all of these creative variations, there are some companies out there, third parties, that can help you with duplication and replication. And one of the companies that we work with that we highly recommend is a company named Persado. So the second big tactic idea is what we lightly touched on the last slide, is leveraging ad creative types. So the Facebook data collection on its users has really allowed them to understand what you like and what you don't like. For me personally, I really detest dynamic product ads. Now, as a marketer, I have to embrace them because, they work. But as a consumer, I really don't like them. So I don't interact with them. And when I'm on Facebook, it's a rarity that I ever see dynamic product ads served to me because I just don't interact with them. So that's really the situation for all of us. And you probably receive ads that are the ones that you interact with the most. So one of the things to make sure that you're doing with all of your efforts is make sure that you have single ad, image ad, creative with the static and the 1200 by 628 and the 1080 by 1080 square. These are still perennially the best performing ad units. Depending on the vertical, some of the other ad units can provide some improvements and lifts, but more often than not, a single image ad is your best performer. And if it's not the top performer, it's going to be pretty close. So one of the things that we recommend as a rule of thumb is make sure that you're trying to do at least 3 of these creative types within your strategy. The more creative types, the more leverage and flexibility that you provide to Facebook to actually match people to the right types of ads they like to see. So now, lastly, it's important to keep in mind there are pros and cons with each one of these ad types. So make sure that you test and figure out which ones are best to leverage for your business. So tactic number 3, test out all placement types. So, we've been here at the forefront, and I remember back to the days when there were only 2 options, which were the Facebook feeds and Facebook right column. So today there are 15 options for someone to choose from. So each one of these placement types, you're going to get different performance, and it is going to vary from one vertical to the next. Some of the things, that we've found is, because we test very, very liberally, we've tested all 15 of these for each and every one of our clients. So some of the things that we've learned is some of these options are lesser used. So people have not taken user acceptance of things like instant articles, messenger ads. And what we're finding is they're very, very highly interactive. And because there isn't an aggressive bidding environment, the CPCs are significantly lower. So, we would recommend very highly everyone give a run on those 2 options. They really work well, and more likely or not, they'll probably perform well for your business. Now, the other side is that sometimes certain platforms work better for different objectives. So what we'll tell you is be very careful about utilizing right column on Facebook for prospecting efforts. And as you're utilizing even for remarketing campaigns, understand it can result in some excessive frequency delivery. So just be mindful of that and make sure you're comfortable with it, because you can see extreme frequency up to the 20 or 30 ads being delivered on a daily basis. Next, take a look into the internet, into the audience network. but make sure that you're pairing it with the right ad delivery optimization. If you utilize clicks or landing page views, it is very likely that the audience network will not work effectively for you. So make sure that you utilize optimization for conversions, and you can make some good, make some good volume and some good ROI off of that platform. And then lastly, marketplaces and stories. And most of our clients are direct response, performance-based advertisers, and we've struggled to see performance there. But for some, a handful of clients that we serve where they're looking for brand awareness and engagement, those two categories work extremely well, much due to the fact that they're typically the cheapest CPM options of all of the platforms listed. So tactic number 4, segmenting ad sets by placement type. So, one of the first things that we'll tell you is beware of listening to what the system says about automated placements. So this gives a super amount of authority to the folks at Facebook to make decisions on how to serve your ads and where they want to serve your ads. Remember, again, this is a yield management system. It isn't about making the best performance for you. It's about getting the best performance for them and then trying to do the best on your behalf where they can. So we do recommend, starting out with an automatic placement, check all 15, and then as you see the performance, you switch to the edit placements and remove many of the poor performing ads and the poor performing placements. So as you're considering segmenting, it is really, really important to follow the best practice statements from Facebook, which is make sure that ad sets have a budgetary allocation set up and a size large enough to ensure that you get one conversion action per day. So the recommendations here in these 4 bullets, they're going to vary from one vertical to the next, and it is going to vary based on your audience size that you can reach. So some of the things that we'll tell you to test out is break out mobile news feeds from desktop news feeds, from right panel, and from stories. They have very significantly different ad serving techniques. They have very significantly different CPMs. So it is really, really important to make sure that you break these out if you can, given the size of your audience target. Another to consider is breaking out product carousel and dynamic product ads from other entities. These 2 types of ad units get significant user interaction because of the presentation, and they get significant click interaction as well. So as a result, if you roll in product carousel in line in the same ad set with mobile news feed, you may see that the product carousel will be served 75, 80, 90% of the time, and the system just won't even serve your static single image in a mobile news feed. So keep that in mind, and you want to pair them out so that you can control the amount of budgetary allocation and the frequency that Facebook will put forward. Another consideration is to break out Instagram from Facebook. So we'll tell you, we've done some tests, in particular with one client, wherein we were spending about 35% of the budget on Instagram and 65% of the budget on Facebook. And our Facebook rep was adamant, roll it up, roll it up, roll it up. And it'll lower your CPMs and it'll get you a better return on investment. So when we rolled it up, what happened was that the system decided to serve 98% of the time to Facebook and 2% of the time to Instagram, which really wasn't in line with our objectives. And what it effectively did is it just kept pumping out more frequency in one platform rather than talking to people in both. So we ended up, of course, reverting it. And then lastly, and this is a really, really important one, make sure you're always breaking out remarketing from prospecting. They are uniquely different and they should never be combined. So next is idea number 5, which is build larger audience targets. So while you can go out and do the amazing hyper targeting within the system, when you get too niche and you apply too much targeting, your CPM will go up. So we have seen with our clients increases of 200 to 300% if we get too refined with the audience target. So things that we'll recommend is go with a more lax audience. You know, try to combine some stuff together, get yourself up, if possible, to a 2 million target if you're going to be advertising nationwide. And if you do this, it'll probably lower your CPMs, and with the right optimization settings, like optimization for conversions, you should get a much more efficient ROI because you're letting the system do its work. So the Facebook algorithm does identify people with higher affinity, and they're going to figure out the hyper-targeted audience that you're looking for. So you really don't need to go crazy getting a niche audience, because Facebook's going to figure it out anyway with their technology. So next slide here is idea number 6, which is refining audiences with exclusions. So, you know, you get some amazing, robust reporting inside the interface with Facebook, and you should consider playing around and taking a look at, you know, some of the demographic and psychographic details and attributes that you can take a look for views. So some of the things that we recommend strongly is be monitoring age and gender performance, and make sure that, you know, you're optimizing with regards to how those are performing. Another thing is, you know, think about your geo-targeting, and is it prudent for you to be regional? Can you be national? You know, urban and rural. So there's a lot of things to think about. And the last thing, which is really the most important piece of the slide, is do not rely on detailed targeting inclusion alone. It is really, really important to consider exclusions. Reason being, as we shared earlier, is that Facebook is kind of close, but they're really not absolute. In the example that I show here on the right, this was for an effort to promote master's programs for an educational institution. And obviously, to get a master's degree, you got to be a college grad. But what we have found out is that the people that are in that college grad audience, they are inclusive of people who have graduated from college, but it also is inclusive of people that said, hey, Johnny, congratulations on graduating from college. Wonderful, wonderful, good job. And that person is now identified as a college grad when they really are not. So the things that you can do to refine it is that you can take other similar segments, and in this case, in this example, you would apply in high school grad and some college and vocational education, giving weight to this to remove some questionable audience targets. And by applying those in, typically they will not have a significant impact on your CPMs, but they can definitely sharpen your audience target and your conversion rates. So next is idea number 7, which is segmenting your remarketing audiences by recency. Now, this is really it's going to be unique and custom from one advertiser to the next. It's very tricky. Facebook, as we said, they want larger audiences, and obviously we as advertisers, we want hyper-targeted audiences. And the more hyper-targeted you get, the audiences get smaller. So as you get going with remarketing, you know, one of the things that you're going to want to do is just test out audience sizes. And, you know, some of the things that we recommend is to test a 0 to 30 day and kind of let the Facebook system work on its own, and compare it up against trying to cut it and chop it up into pieces, such as like a 0 to 3 day, 4 to 7 day, 8 to 14, and 15 to 30 day breakout. And then with that, if you would want to allocate your budget accordingly based on the aggression that you would want to have in each one of those segment buckets. Now, we will tell you is that we've had some clients where the breakouts into those 4 groupings work amazing. And then we've had other situations where it hasn't worked as well. And what the consistent situation is, when it doesn't work out, it's always about audience count size. So, you know, if you put it up into the 0 to 3, 0 to 30, understand that Facebook has logged the recency of your website visit. But when you have it grouped up like that, the ad serving system, and it is detailed by Facebook in writing, that they will start reducing the ad delivery the further a person's out and the more ads that they've seen. So you can override that by doing the segmenting breakout. But you got to test, you got to do what's right for your business, because it's going to vary depending on your audience sizes. So the next slide is tactic number 8, which is custom audiences and offline conversions. So if you're not utilizing custom audiences today, you got to get on the training with the cool kids, because this is the future of Facebook. So if you haven't done it today, it's basically simply an upload of email addresses and phone numbers, for which Facebook will oftentimes make match rates of 70 to 80%. So as you put these up, it gives you a range of different strategies that are now available for you for marketing. So some of those include customer remarketing to people who had opted out of your emails, and you could be doing renewals of subscriptions and marketing and plans. So the next would be dormant customer reactivation. So for those types of advertisers that typically won't see a person more than once per year, this is a great opportunity to reignite them and bring them in. It also provides you the opportunity to look like models beyond the use of just the Facebook pixel. So most advertisers are doing lookalike models predicated on the firing of the purchase pixel, firing of the lead pixel, or just the remarketing pixels on the site. And sometimes those don't produce as good of results as compared to you putting your customer base up and allowing the system to have a wider range of people to utilize to create that lookalike model. Next, exclusion audiences for all campaigns. So if you know that somebody has purchased and they're not going to be in market for purchasing with you again anytime soon, you can utilize these uploads to actually remove people from continuing to receive ads. And then lastly, if you're a direct mailer or you do email marketing, it provides you an opportunity to do multi-channel targeting and to be able to be hitting these people on Facebook at the same time a direct mail or an email lands in home. So in addition to the custom audiences for marketing purposes, you also have the ability to upload offline conversions into the system. And this can be a great thing for those who are out there doing lead generation. It gives you the opportunity to look at all your milestones of the multiple step process into conversion, and you can upload all of that into the system to get a better understanding of how the marketing that you did delivered to actual revenue and back-end conversions. So, and again, all you got to do is put up email addresses and phone numbers along with the action timestamp, and you're ready to rock and roll. So next slide is tactic number 9, which is limiting information that you share with the Facebook pixel. So it's really, really important to know you're putting that Facebook pixel up there, but you're giving a world of intelligence to Facebook and an approval to do so. And with the pixels that they got set, and it's not just the Facebook pixel, it's also the Facebook Connect pixel that everybody utilizes to link out to their Facebook page. These pixels are gauging time spent, page views, the content that's being viewed, and purchase intent. So while our intention as advertisers for it to be used for us, Facebook is utilizing this to formulate lookalike models and to improve their ad delivery optimization, which will include indexing for in-market and delivering ads to your competitors. So we've all experienced it where we've gone to a website, we begin shopping, we decide we don't want to move forward, and then we go off into Facebook, and all of a sudden you're getting an ad from a competitor website for a similar product. That's how they do it. So make sure that you diligently determine what you actually share with them. Determine what pages are absolutely necessary for your remarketing efforts. We would strongly encourage everyone to reconsider sharing add to cart information with Facebook, because it's too critical of an action. Because Facebook also is able to see a purchase actually occurred, if somebody adds to cart, they are able to determine who the abandoners are on your website, which are your highest quality target for remarketing, and they're going to share that information with your competitors, and they're going to target on their behalf to go after that person who left an item in their cart that you didn't convert. So as you do some of these things, also consider utilizing some of the custom conversions. They still exist, and they will help you obfuscate Facebook's understanding of what's happening on your website. So tactic number 10, apply the most prudent ad optimization functionality. So, as we've, shared, Facebook rolled out, this Facebook pixel and got all these predefined action buckets about 3 years ago. And that really fueled their ability to do much improved ad serving and really help people get their ROI. And in turn, as they help people achieve their ROIs, Facebook has pressured up all those CPMs, knowing that they're giving a lot more quality as a result of all the intelligence gathering they've done and how they've utilized it in delivery of ads. So it's really important to make sure you choose the right optimization for each objective you have, because what you choose will determine who the audience is that will see it. So if you select impressions or daily unique reach, what you can expect to receive are the least engaged users on Facebook who really don't like advertising. So, it's really not the people you really want to go after, especially if you are trying to get a direct response return on investment. So only utilize those in situations where you're doing brand awareness and outreach. So the other options that exist out there are things like optimization for conversions and landing page views. So understand when you apply those, you are going to get upcharged a higher CPM simply for just selecting that delivery choice. So then you got to gauge from that is, if I'm going to get charged this higher CPM, is it being offset by improved quality? What we'll tell you is optimization for conversions usually kind of nails it, but we have struggled to see landing page views work on behalf of our clientele. The CPM increases really have been too significant, and you're only getting a slight incremental improvement over link clicks. So optimize for link clicks is another one that's a challenging perspective, in that you get a lot of accidental clickers. And if you've looked at research out there, it suggests as much as 40 to 50% of the clicks that happen in a mobile environment never actually reach your website, which is the reason why Facebook introduced landing page views. So you can get a lot of indiscriminate finger fudge clickers. And then lastly, you have the 3-second video view for video campaigns. And, this is one that we strongly discourage people from utilizing, because all it really identifies is people who are just slow scrollers through their feed. So tactic number 11, as you've seen over the past 2 years, CPMs are just exploding, and there's been a lot of complaints from advertisers that it's gotten out of hand and my ROI is getting hurt. So Facebook did introduce last year bid strategy functionality that allows people to set a bid cap. So while the tool limit some risk for the advertiser, what we have found is if you don't utilize it properly, it can result in a really, really dramatic reduction in volume. So rule of thumb that we put forward is always launch your campaigns out there without bid caps. Let the system learn. You got to spend a few $1,000s, and after you spend a few $1,000s, then you can give some consideration to applying some caps. Now, if you're going to apply caps, be smart with how you're going to draw back. Take a look at what you're currently achieving, and let's say you're getting $100 cost per conversion. So, but you really want to be at 50. So what we would tell you is notch it back from 100 to 90, let it go for a couple days, then take it from 90 to 80, then 80 to 70, 70 to 60, and then 60 to 50. That will allow the algorithm to reset, try to find the audience that will convert towards that goal, and it won't stop serving altogether because you're giving the algorithm an ability to continue to learn. So next is tactic number 12. And this is really the hidden gem game winner that we're sharing with you today that should work for everyone. So with our clients, we do a lot of Spanish language campaigns. And the reasons why they have been terrifically successful is that the CPMs out there are extremely lower because there just isn't any auction demand as compared to the English language. So, we strongly encourage everyone to consider getting into, Spanish language marketing. But if you're going to do it, there are some things you have to consider for success. First, we strongly recommend everything has to be translated into Spanish, not just the ad, but also the landing pages of which you're going to send to people. Now, can you do the translation in the ad and send it to an English landing page? Sure, you could probably get away with that. But if you can update everything to a Spanish experience, you're going to get the best results. Secondarily, don't just copy and paste the English campaigns similarly and think that's just going to work. You're going to want to test out some creatives. You're going to want to customize the creative to look like the people who are seeing them. So having a flavor for Latinos is really important. And then lastly, you want to test various ad types. And some of the things that we have found is that the ad types that work in the English language don't necessarily work the same in Spanish language campaigns. And one of the things that we found as a nuance is video ads just work tremendously well with Spanish-speaking audiences, and much improved performance as compared to typical static ad creative. And finally, lucky tactic number 13, which is implementing boosted posts. So, obviously all of you have heard in the news, Facebook and fake news and all the challenges they've been having with it. So in Q1 of 2008, they did make some changes to the news feed that were highly publicized, wherein they started serving you again a lot of your dormant personal friends and started limiting the number of times you would see a Facebook page advertisement, boost, or organic content presentation in your feed. So numerous content marketers, primarily blogging websites and news websites, really saw a dramatic reduction in their organic posting reach as a result of these activities. So to get yourself back to the reach levels that you were previously at, the one thing you can do is you can implement boosted posts and get people to engage with your organic content through a promoted ad to get people back into the mix of being an engaged user with your Facebook page. So for a few $100s a week, basically you can improve your organic reach back to where it was, or even potentially surpass it, and get your organic free opportunities returned to you for your marketing efforts. So with that, that is our last idea, and I'm going to pass it back to David.
Thanks, Tim. That was great intel and some fantastic learnings. Why not summarize? Here's 5 high-level key takeaways. 1, you really need to pay attention to how the algorithm works with as much investment of time as you can place into the marketing elements. The more intimate and in tune you become, the better. In this case, knowledge is bliss. 2, so important. Recognize that Facebook is harvesting your website data for its internal usage, most of which is not always to your benefit. Whether it be both benefit or detriment, be conscientious of it. Determine what they need to know and not. 3, understand how each of the technical functionalities work and in what scenarios they are most prudent for implementation. It's really important. Number 4, feed the system what it needs, for example, fresh creative, versioning, substantial audience counts, conversion events, and provide flexibility, optimization choices, limiting bid caps, and so on, to allow the system to learn and be successful. Don't make this mistake of putting too many clamps. Let the system learn and think first. And finally, number 5, prepare for system changes and how they will affect your campaigns. Adapt early and recognize the system is evolving tremendously every 9 months. Stay on top of it. Most important is that every vertical is different, so you need to test. Test each specific vertical and industry. Remember, there are nuances from industry to the next, so you need to be conscientious of that.
So at this time, we're going to do some Q&A. We have a handful of questions that have been submitted during the webinar, and we're going to hit all of them, as many as we can, with the time remaining allotted. So the first question that we have is, will these slides and a recording be available after the webinar? Absolutely. We're going to try to have the recording put up by early next week for everyone, as well as a downloadable of the PowerPoint slides. So thank you for your question. So second question we have is, what is your recommended budgetary marketing mix percent for social advertising? So really great question. And the first thing that I can say is, this is going to vary obviously from one advertiser to the next. But, given the realities of available inventory and things of that nature, and the quality of the performance that you're going to receive, more often than not, we're recommending our clients, for their digital marketing budgets, invest about 20% of your overall into Facebook, combination of remarketing and prospecting. And in situations where an advertiser can have more success with prospecting efforts, maybe it gets up to 25 or 30%. So, it's definitely growing. And everyone should be making sure that they provide a very significant investment into the Facebook and Instagram channels. So thank you for your question. So taking a look at the next question here is, what is the ROI on paid social compared to PPC and other digital channels? So, again, awesome question. So this is, something that, we deal with every day with our clients, and very particularly with lead generation clients, because you're not taking out a credit card and giving an instant transaction, in cooperation with the clicking on an ad. So what we have typically found is that the quality of traffic that comes from PPC is about 2 to 2.5x higher in terms of conversion potential than paid social. So, so as you're setting your goals, you should have much higher standards for ROI achievement, in the PPC space, because the quality of that traffic is much better because they're raising their hand, where in the paid social world, if you're doing prospecting, it's a little bit more impulsive and you're trying to get them in market, and therefore you are going to see a drop in the quality of the lead as compared to the pay-per-click channel. So thank you for your question. So next question we have here is, do you have any recommendations for businesses that don't have a true consumable product? So we have a handful of clients that have this exact same challenge. So a few of our clients that we work with, if they get the conversion action, basically the person may never be in market ever again. Once they get it, or they may not be in market again for another 5 to 10 years. So in those circumstances with advertisers like that, you have to make a profit initially on that effort. You can't expect the repurchase or effort to help fuel profitability on a second and third interaction with your business. So so we've really had a lot of great success there, and the key really has been around remarketing in these channels. So typically in those types of situations, when you don't have that consumable, it's a very considered purchase because it's a one-time deal and you got to do it the right way. And when the person gets in that considered thinking, basically they're going to take time, and if they're going to take time, remarketing is going to be a very, very important and key element to your campaigns. So if you don't have that true consumable, what you can confirm for yourself is you should be able to do remarketing like crazy on Facebook, because the nature of the platform is just perfectly suitable for that. So thank you for your question. So do you recommend funneling Facebook traffic into specific offer or content pages to drive conversion? Can you speak to that in further degree? So typically with our clients, we strongly recommend, very much so on the lead generation side, creating microsites. Chop down your content, give them the stuff that's most important, and create a more unique experience for those users, and you will see a dramatic improvement in your conversion rate versus sending them into kind of a brochure website with too much information where they can be lost. So I do, strongly recommend, if you are doing lead generation activities, consider a microsite. Can you get away with like a one-page closed caption type of landing page? Sure. But what we find more often than not is a 3-page, 5-page microsite often outperforms because a single page just doesn't give enough information. With regards to e-commerce types of advertisers, typically more often than not, we send our clients traffic into the homepage. But we do have circumstances where we can, if there's a special promotion, we'll send them into a special landing page with details about the promotion. Or if we know that they have engaged with certain pages of the website, we may actually do categorical ad campaigns for the site category of products that they were looking at, so that there's a level of relevancy with the visual that they're seeing, but doesn't cross that line of kind of too much invasion of privacy that dynamic product ads provide. So you can get, a feeling of connectivity with the person because they'll see, kind of the category of products they were looking at, but you don't freak them out by putting the exact product that they were looking at. So it looks like, we're out of time. We thank everybody for coming today. And, we hope that you got a lot out of our presentation. As I mentioned, before, I stay very much involved in marketing, and I've been on the side, as the client in the past. And I've sat on webinars in the past wherein, it's a very aggressive sales pitch with not a lot of substance. So we hope, that today, you appreciated that we gave you truly actionable options to consider within your campaigns, and that this has been a fruitful and valuable use of your time. So we thank you for attending. And if anyone has any follow-up questions, feel free to reach out to my man David Waldman. He loves to chat and talk with people, so you're more than welcome to reach out to him. And we shared with you for contact purposes his email address as well as his personal cell phone. Guys, call him on a Saturday, call him on a Sunday. He loves to be bothered after hours. So, but again, thank you everybody for your time and attending today's webinar.